Hello again, I'm Emily Reese, the career counselor here at Troy University. Today we're going to continue our conversation by discussing how part-time jobs and internships can aid you in your full-time job search. We will cover things like resume reviews, professional development, and networking. We will start with resumes because that's really the most important document in the job search process. Your resume is an overview of your education, experience, accomplishments, skills, and anything else an employer would need to know about you. Resumes are really important because they serve as your first impression. An employer will typically see your resume before they've seen you in person, met you, or have the opportunity to learn anything else about you. So it's really important to use your resume to make a great first impression. Employers will typically spend 30 seconds or less looking at your resume. So it's really important that you have all of your information listed clearly and concisely so that way they can gather all of the information that they need to know about you in a very short matter of time. I have put together 5 tips to help you create an impressive resume. The first is to keep it very concise and consistent. So typically this means keeping it to 1 page. Now I know that this can be hard to do, especially if you have a lot of accomplishments or experience, but if an employer is only going to spend 30 seconds looking at your resume, they're not really going to have enough time to scroll through or flip through several pages. So keeping it to 1 page is key. So you want to think about anything that needs to be highlighted. What's the most important experience that you have? What are top skills that you want them to see? And realize that just because things aren't listed on your resume doesn't mean that you can't discuss them in your cover letter or in a job interview. Your resume doesn't have to cover everything that you've ever done. It's just highlighting things that are important for an employer so that way they can decide if they would like to bring you in for an interview. We discourage the use of templates on your resume. This is because templates make it difficult to add or edit your own personal information. We also suggest that you use black font and do not add any pictures, outlines, or anything that takes away from the content of your resume. You should use bullet points and action verbs to describe your experience. Again, employers are not going to spend very long looking at your resume, therefore you should not use paragraphs to explain any of your experience. Use just a few bullet points to explain each thing and make sure that you use action verbs so that way they can see very clearly what skills and experience you have gained. It is important to be truthful on your resume. You want to be sure that you do not exaggerate any of your experience or include something that you actually did not do. Employers will often use your resume during an interview, and so you want to be sure that you can answer any questions and back up anything that you've listed on your resume. You want to make sure that you use relevant information on your resume. You want to keep it within the last 4 years and really show what you have done throughout your college career. It's also important to use numbers wherever you can, especially to quantify any information that you're giving. And finally, be sure to proofread and have someone read over and review your resume. You don't want to have any spelling errors or miss anything on your resume because, again, you're trying to make a great first impression. We encourage you to use the Office of Career Services to have your resume reviewed before you apply for any job or internship. As athletes, you also have a unique experience to add to your resume. You want to be sure to add any of your sport or athletic experience on your resume, especially if you do not have any job experience. Now, I know a lot of times as athletes, your schedule keeps you really busy, so you don't have time to do those internships or to pick up a part-time or a summer job. Therefore, your athletic experience really becomes like your work experience. So you want to treat it like a job and convey any of the skills and accomplishments that you have made throughout your athletic career. You really want to make sure that you are describing your athletic experience well. So you don't just want to say, I played soccer or tennis or football. You want to explain the skills and what you've learned from that experience. So make sure that you explain the time commitment, the dedication, the discipline, and the team experience that you have. Also, describe your individual experience and any accomplishments that you have. Use words such as achieved, collaborated, influenced, etc. to really get the point across to employers what your athletic experience has given you. Professional development is also important when it comes to the internship and job search process. You want to be sure that you are finding ways to improve on yourself while also networking and making connections in your field. You can develop skills and expand your knowledge in your field by doing things such as attending workshops, webinars, and trainings, joining a professional organization and attending conferences in your field, finding a mentor, volunteering in your community, or watching a podcast or reading a book. Networking and making connections are key to finding a job. 60 to 80% of jobs are found through networking, and 75% of jobs are never even advertised online. So as you can see, networking and thinking about who you know is going to be really important in your job search process. You do not necessarily have to be well connected in order to start the networking process. First, begin by thinking about who you know. Think about your family and your friends, anyone that you know from your hometown who might be able to help you when it comes to making connections. You as student athletes also have a unique approach in that you have coaches and athletic academic advisors and professors and people who are also there to help you make and enhance those connections. Be sure to utilize those resources even if they're not specifically in the field that you're interested in. Once you've used your warm connections and thought about who you already know, it's time to start thinking about who you would like to know or who could enhance your networking experience. I suggest putting together a list of companies or people that you would be interested in connecting with and then starting to do your research in order to connect with them. So you can often find out a lot of things about a company on their website. You can use social media and things like LinkedIn to connect with people that you're interested in. Finally, be sure to use online resources to your advantage. Look over a company's website, find out the people that you would like to connect with and email them or give them a phone call. Use LinkedIn as a way to network professionally online. Look up the companies that you're interested in and try to connect with the people in the field that you would like to go into. You can also use social media like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to research companies, follow along, and reach out to those people who you would like to know. The last piece of advice I have for you is do not be afraid to put yourself out there. Worst case scenario, you get a couple no's or you don't hear back from a few people. Best case scenario, you learn how to network well and you make great connections with people in your career field who will really help you on your job search journey. As always, we are happy to help in the Office of Career Services. We are here to provide resume reviews for you to help you reach out to employers, to hold things like career fairs, and to help you network in your field. If you have any questions, please reach out to us and we would be glad to help.